Welcome. It's me, Sigma. This is the Sigma Show, episode 54. As I was starting the thing, I just realized I forgot to take Jeff's name off the thing. So that was that brain fart I just had. But we were trying to get Jeff into the room. It does not seem to be working. If he messages me later on, maybe we'll get him back. But for now, we're just going to push forward. We're starting a little bit late today. So before I let you know who did make it into the room today, real quick, we'll go over what our topics will be. First up, EA has announced that they're working on 3 Star Wars projects. One we already knew about, Jedi Fallen Order 2, the sequel, and 2 new ones that we'll dig into and see if they are of any interest to any of us here. After that, we've gotten word that Xbox is planning to make a Monster Hunter clone. So this will be a first-party exclusive. It's going to be worked on from the from a Halo satellite team called Certain Affinity. And basically, we'll just speculate, I guess, on if that's a good idea, like what that sounds like, what we would want from a Xbox-led Monster Hunter clone. And here today to talk with me about these topics is Rexicon Jesse.
That's me. Hey, everybody.
As well as the Fat Stacks.
What's going on, y'all?
Nice to have you guys here. Let's jump right into things. We'll start off, since it is a slower news week, with what you guys have been playing. Feel free to indulge in in this info dump of just, what you've been hanging out with.
After you, sir.
Yeah, go right ahead, Fast. Let me move your name directly under your video as you talk.
Well, me personally, I've been looking at I just saw something come across yesterday about Metroid 4. Mario Kart 9, which probably won't be out until flying around about those two.
Oh yeah.
I don't think those are gonna come out until the next console for the Switch, for Nintendo, I should say. I don't think you're gonna see it on the Switch. That's just my opinion from the way how I've seen the rumors flying around about those two. So, but I've been playing like EDF, Earth Defense Force, quite a bit.
Yeah.
On PlayStation.
Which one? Because that I have very fond memories of the one that was on the Wii or the GameCube.
Yeah, this one is called
whichever one was
Iron
the first
Rain.
one.
So there's been a bunch of them, a bunch of different EDFs. I've had it for PlayStation 3, of course, PlayStation 4, and now I've been messing around with the one for PS5 called Iron. I think it's the latest one called Iron Rain. So I've been messing around with that every now and again. I like playing it. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I remember those games being a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are.
It's pretty good if you can get 4 people in there and just go ham, kind of with the whole different setup and the different classes and stuff. It's not really a game that everybody kind of looks at, but I don't know if they could ever add more levels to it and like a DLC. I think there's been like 1 DLC to Iron Rain, I believe. But I think it's pretty fun. That's just me. And of course, I dab into Apex a little bit here and there, and League of Legends. I've been doing a lot of League of Legends lately as well. So between League of Legends and EDF, so
okay,
I definitely can't complain about those.
You were a big League of Legends fan before like Arcane came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is amazing!
Yeah.
What's that League of Legends game about?"
Yeah, I've been playing League of Legends for a long time.
Have you seen like an influx of? Have you seen like an influx of new people trying to get in? Like, are you matching up with games with people who don't know anything and are asking a bunch of questions?
Here and there, but League of Legends has always had a huge following regardless before the show came out. So it kind of let people in on some of the characters. So in my opinion, it's Magic the Gathering. I don't know if y'all know about that, but if you're
Jeff
bringing out
started
shows
streaming it recently, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So arenas, yeah. So like if you're doing stuff like that, does kind of introduce people to games like that who never really play stuff like that, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. So I always think it's a nice thing to, have like a little anime show about some of those, if possible, because some of those, the way how they're done, these companies are very particular about how their characters need to be portrayed when it comes to turning games into shows.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So, of course, we all know certain games just didn't turn over too well when it came into shows. So,
Yeah, that's true. Like famously, Nintendo was very picky about how Samus was portrayed, and that's why the Metroid project has still never gotten off the ground. Even though that game is based off of like aliens, and so just make aliens, but with Samus.
And I feel like they're the pickiest. Nintendo is definitely the pickiest when it comes to their characters.
Very. I mean,
and for those listening, Jeff finally made it into the call. so there he is.
I had some technical difficulties. I went to open Discord and it was blank, and I'm looking up all this stuff on how to fix it real quick. So I had to go clear my app cache for Discord, and then it finally was good to go. Worked fine.
At least you made it.
Other day. Yeah,
yes, sir. We was missing you. Glad to see you.
So does that do it for you, Fast X? Anything you've been watching?
That does it for me. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I don't have like a ton of content I've been keeping up with either, because most of the stuff I've been playing is still under embargo. But I did very shortly jump back into Fire Emblem Three Houses. I technically never finished it. I don't know why I say technically. I never finished that game. Like, I'm very close to the end and kind of just walked away from it because it's like I know this is gonna end soon, and I kind of wasn't ready. So you just wander off into the distance and forget to come back. But I'm probably gonna implicate myself a little bit here. I was teaching a class for my other job, and it's with a student who does not like when I talk to him, and so like he just does what he's doing, and I kind of am sitting there doing nothing. So like, just pull up Fire Emblem because it's a thing I can easily walk away from if I need to. I don't have to like pause it or have something run in the background. And I was surprised how quick I was pulled right back in. Like, I remembered like all the scenarios based on like the character relationships and stuff without seeing any of that, just because I was looking at the characters and like I had made such a connection with them when I was playing the game heavy that I was like, oh, that's Sylvain. He's like this, and he was related to that guy. Like, it just all came flooding back, which is weird because like there's a lot of details in like those character interactions. And the gameplay was very easy to pick back up. All my students feel very overpowered. And I don't know if that's because like I'm a good teacher, or like I set it to like a difficulty that that was like letting me like just make my way through the game or not. But either way, like I was having a really good time. Like, I love the music in that game. Like, the battle music is like fantastic, and I've forgotten how good it is. So like I think I'm back. Like I'm gonna try to push through and finish Fire Emblem Three Houses, and if that doesn't feel like enough, I may just go right back and start another playthrough from a different perspective, because I've heard how different the game is, like when you're, seeing it from a different house. And I've only ever done the Blue Lions house, if that's the right name. I think they're Blue Lions, right? So, yeah, Fire Emblem Three Houses. In terms of what I've been watching, I've been slowly making my way through Peacemaker, the DC show. It's I really like it. John Cena is hilarious.
I told you.
His physical comedy is so good.
Right.
And the thing is, like, I've always said I've always said about John Cena, like he likes how weird he looks, I think. Like how like he likes the hugeness of his body. So like he'll wear like a t-shirt that's just a box, and like it looks like it's like he's in a muumuu or something. It's weird to see him in Peacemaker because the clothes they give him looks like clothes that are made to fit a guy who's even as big as him. So he looks normal when he's wearing clothes in that show, and I've never seen him look like that. In his regular life, he'll wear a suit that looks like he's a bouncer in a nightclub. Like, it's just it's so oversized. Like, so I don't know. I wonder if he'll learn to like that and like will go about his regular life dressing in clothes that fit him now. Like, that was the main thing that.
I feel like you haven't seen him a lot yet. It's like
I have no. The thing is, of all these new school wrestlers, I've actually seen a lot of John Cena like in his quote unquote normal life, because like I used to actually see a lot of Total Divas, and like he was a main character in that show because he was dating and I think is now married to one of the Bella twins. So like that was actually where I started like liking his personality and stuff because like he was a funny dude there, and he was like a really nice guy. Like he was like in general just like really sweet to everyone around him and stuff. But like the way he dressed is always like this is very funny to me. But like but now you're getting to see another side of him. Like I always liked him in any movie or TV show that he cameoed in, but now that he's kind of starring in this, he's really kind of acting his ass off. Like he's really good in the role. He seems like he's really dedicated to it. And he like his line delivery especially, like this isn't really a spoiler, but like they do like after credit scenes for every episode almost, right? But they're like little jokes. And the first one where he's talking to his dad, and his dad tells him like, "Oh, this helmet gives you scabies," and then his response is just really matter of fact. He's like, "Why would I want scabies?" He's like, "Why would I want scabies?" He's like, challenge yourself. It's just really stupid. But I'm really enjoying it. Like I'm not really pulled into the plot yet. Like I've only watched the first 3 episodes. So like they're not really hooking me with like what's actually happening, but just the interactions of the characters is like super enjoyable. So like I'm definitely there for whatever they got coming up.
Yeah, that's why I equated to like Deadpool, where you're just more interested in the characters' interaction as opposed to the plot development. Like I think it might get there eventually, but it's more so just watching these characters interact with each other and just watching him mostly. It's like the stuff he does is just hilarious.
True. And the last thing that me and my fiance finished up, she started the show and I kind of came in the middle of it and finished it out with her. Is this Netflix series starring Kristen Bell called "The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window"? And the title is ridiculous because I think
a heck of a title, boy.
Yeah, the thing is, I first saw the trailer for this on like Facebook or Twitter or something, and all the comments under it was like, "Didn't Netflix just make a show called The Woman in the Window? Like how like they're so unoriginal, it's so unoriginal." But like everyone's kind of missing the point that this trailer was clearly making fun of shows like that other show, The Woman in the Window, because like the stuff that happens in it is just like those movies, but kind of it's like so ridiculous. Like it's not a spoiler, but the main character, Kristen Bell, her daughter dies and her husband and she divorce as a result, right? When they explain to you how the daughter dies, it's so over the top and ridiculous. Like, even though it's like under normal circumstances, it would be sad, but the explanation is so stupid, so over the top, so ridiculous that it's like, what? Like, if you were watching this and didn't know it was a parody, like, you would have to be like, yo, this is like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Because like they ease you into it. Like they just drop these hints of like, look, this world is really stupid. These people are really stupid, and the things that are happening are also really stupid. And over time, it kind of just balloons and grows until at the very end you realize how insane everything actually is. Like they really don't put their foot down on the pedal until like the last couple of episodes. But like there are hints of just how ridiculous this entire concept of like these women, true crime obsessed plot lines can get. Because like people who aren't really into that stuff will watch it and be like, this is stupid. This would never happen. And like they give you a show where they prove to you like, yes, this is how you sound. This is how you look when you like when you obsess over these kinds of stories. So like it's actually really fun. Like it doesn't have like a high Rotten Tomatoes score, but I think that's because a lot of people went into it thinking it was a normal show and came away like I didn't enjoy that at all. Like this was a really bizarre plot, but I liked it. It's actually really funny in my opinion.
My partner started watching it based on what you said about it, and
right.
wanted me to tell you thank you because she thinks it is also hilarious and
it's really funny. It's really funny. But that's pretty much it for me.
Oh, well.
Jesse.
Jesse, you can go if you want.
Okay. I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight because I am a little hooked on it. It's fun. It's kind of upsetting sometimes, but like I want more. Like I'm like, oh, that was a terrible round. all right, queue up for another one. I got it this time, and I usually don't got it that time. But
Are there other games
really,
like that you've gotten into, or is this like the first? Like
no,
the kind of hide and seek genre is what I like to
yeah,
call it.
yeah, the hide and seek, the asymmetrical games. I haven't, and I think part of the reason why is because most of those I've seen are like where it's like Evolve or something, where it's kind of like a first person shooter, but not.
Hmm.
Where this is not anything like that. Like the killer characters a first person melee sort of, but you're so much like slower on your attacks and have to be so calculating with how you go after someone that it's a very different experience for pretty much anything else I've played. And then as the survivor, that's where you have that hide and seek element where it's like you gotta do this, and you gotta run away, and then you gotta hide, and you gotta be smart with like when you run, when you crouch, when you throw pallets. I don't know. It's a good mix for me. I like it. And I got to play with some friends last night,
Hmm.
which was really fun. I'm
Cool.
not going to get into my complaints about how the upgrading and perk system works because that is kind of frustrating, but it hasn't lost me yet. Uh, and then the main thing I played, not the main thing, I only played it twice, but on Friday I got to stream the demo of Dark Souls Nightfall, that mod that came out.
Yeah, I watched some of that.
Yeah, you did. Thanks. Uh, and I was kind of disappointed. Like to be
Oh,
honest.
really? Because it looked like you were having
Yeah.
fun, from what I could tell. So what's pushing you away?
So I was having fun, especially during the stream, because we streamed for about 4 hours and then I played for another like 30 minutes or half hour to beat the final boss.
Hmm.
And I think I did everything uh, that you could do in the demo. I might have missed an area, but I don't think I did. And like, first of all, the opening gets you at the Lord vessel, and then like a door opens and you see the demon ruins. And I was like, ooh, that I want to see what's new. And I stepped out and the door behind me shut. And in the Lord vessel was what your Estus flask is in this game.
So you never
Which I
picked it
didn't
up.
I never got it. And it shut the door freaking behind me. So I didn't know it was a thing. So I did end up beating everything but the last boss without a freaking Estus flask.
Nice.
Um, which
That's
makes
kind of
sense
dumb
why I
mistakes I
died
tend to
so many
make in
times.
those Souls games.
Yeah.
Just
But it was
unnecessarily
really
make it harder
fun.
on myself.
But it was frustrating because it would have been more fun with it. Um, but like, so all of the levels in the demo, one of the things that, from my understanding of Darkfall, is that it was supposed to be like a sequel to Dark Souls was their goal,
Hmm.
a fan made sequel for the dark ending when you don't
Right.
link the fire, and that they wanted to reuse assets of the game to build that. Kind of, and I know the phrase getting thrown around is like Majora's Mask, where it's like a lot of the same assets of Ocarina of Time, but they built a
Right.
new thing out of it. That I love. I love a reused asset sequel. All the levels in the demo look like they are exactly the same as the level in the game. So there's no new
Okay.
area that I could tell, which was sad. And then there were some of the enemies were in new places, which was cool, but like a lot of them weren't, and it just felt like an enemy rearrange mod. And then they wanted to
I
speed up
thought I thought
combat.
some of the enemies
Oh,
were
go ahead.
new as well.
There's there was a demon boss that was new. There's these undead dudes that have like little spider legs coming off of them,
Uh-huh.
and then there's a boss that's a mix of Sif and Calamite. And then there's another night boss. Those were all new. I can't actually remember any new enemies. There was like the tree people. There were some capper demons.
Demons.
Yeah, there's the dudes with the big heads and the long arms that laugh a lot that are in the DLC area. Um,
No mimics.
no, there were no mimics. Every chest I opened was safe. I was nervous every single time. Yeah, like
Well,
I
I mean,
wanted to
it is
see
just the demo though, right? Like
yeah,
how
but
how expansive is it?
all right, it took about 5 hours to beat. But again,
Mhm.
Pretty hefty demo.
it is, but I also had no Estus flask, and which is called something different. It's called like Umbral Shard or something. But like, it it didn't really. It just kind of rearranged stuff, but it didn't offer anything new. And also that it was supposed to come out in December, and that the demo came out a month later, and that there's no new area. Like, and that it was completely reused areas was very like what was supposed to be out. Like that
Mm,
seems like this is
yeah.
way further behind. Someone mentioned in the Discord that maybe it was like an old. They wanted to release something, so it's an older, you know, stable version.
Did they say that,
Which
or that's like
no,
a
that was a
hypothesis?
theory. Yeah,
Okay.
which could make sense, but like again, as a demo, it didn't really sell me. Also, that dodge, the quick dodge, no, it's not good. I changed
Oh
controllers because
wow.
I thought it was it was me messing up. And sometimes it is, but not all the time. Like it'll sometimes dodge in the wrong direction, like completely in the wrong direction, like I'm holding backwards and they'll jump forward. The spacing is a bit weird, which I kind of got more used to, but like it still never felt right. Sometimes you double dodge when you press it once. Sometimes you won't dodge twice, even if you jam it like 3 times in a row.
Hmm.
Like it was very upsettingly inconsistent. So like
Oh man.
I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah, you were
And I
talking about it
am
for a
not.
while.
Yeah, I am. It. Yeah, it was really disappointing. It's not bad. It's just not nearly as good as I thought it was going to be. It is okay, which is way more than we're going to make a sequel to this game as a mod. That expectation is high when you come into it saying this is what we're going to do, and it does not deliver that.
Yeah, it's kind of another. Like I don't want to sound like I'm dissing the devs, like the modders who put hard work into this, but it's kind of another sign that it is difficult to try and match what From Software does. Like
Oh yeah.
that studio was kind of in a class of its own, and like even attempts to remix their own stuff. Like you have all the stuff that they have, and
Hmm.
you're just trying to build on top of it. Like the fact that it still doesn't come out feeling quite right or up to
Yeah.
snuff is kind of telling. Like you have the engine, you're just like tweaking settings and stuff, and like it's still like hard to just nail what they apparently are able to hit every single time they release a game.
Yeah.
Like so that, I mean, it's unfortunate. Hopefully they're still working on it. Like we said, this was the demo. They're still releasing it at some point in the future. Like, is there a definitive date for that, or is that still kind of unknown?
Not that I've seen. So I don't think they're shooting for before Elden Ring anymore, but I'm not sure.
Mm,
Also, just want to say, absolute tangent. I'm sorry. If you're going to release a mod, anyone out there, if you are going to release something, put the doggone instructions of how to install the
Yeah.
mod
I hate
on
that.
your web page to download it. I had to go to another site to tell me how to install it.
wow.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, that's
That's crazy.
that's a
Yeah.
that's a red flag, I think.
Because when you go to like Skyrim mods on like on the Skyrim website where they have like official Skyrim mods or Fallout 4 mods on PC,
Mhm.
most of them will include the instructions on how to install that mod.
Yeah, because they're all a little different.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like this one, you have to install it in any place you want and then tell it where the executable for Dark Souls is. But there's other ones where you have to put them in the proper folder and then open this thing, which will open that. But you actually open Dark Souls through Steam and then it overrides it with Nightfall.
Mm.
Right.
So, like,
So this is
good
something
to
that
know.
changes your Dark Souls game. Like it's not like you open up Dark Souls and then in the game you can now pick the Nightfall thing. It's like no,
Right.
this is now Nightfall.
Right, you're telling it to when your computer executes Dark Souls to execute the Nightfall version.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, hopefully that thing does come into its own. But
Yeah, I'd like.
that is sad to hear that it's not really doing what you were hoping it would do.
Yeah, even being disappointed, I still wish them the best, and I hope it does turn into something good, like you're saying.
Right. Okay. Let me say so. Back to Code Vein then, Jesse.
I'm well, no, because I don't have Game Pass, but anymore. So no, but yes,
Aw.
Code Vein is rough. That is a rough game,
that
boy.
game is tough.
I beat it
That
once and I was like, that was it. I'm good.
Yeah, that's all.
I'm good.
You did it.
yeah, they're serious,
Mhm.
and there's a reason they give you an OP partner to tag along with you.
Some of them
Okay.
fights, you want to toss your controller.
Oh yeah.
So, does that do it for you, Jesse?
I have talked long enough, so yes.
All right. How about you, Jeff? What do you got?
I don't have much, so let's be quick and to the point. I'm playing a lot of Magic the Gathering on Arena. I'm playing a lot of
Mhm.
that. Didn't do much of the rank stuff before, so I started doing rank like the other day, and I made it from like bronze to like gold right now. So I want to try to
Nice.
make it to platinum before the season ends in like 3 days.
Oh, dang. Is that
Yeah,
like
because you get
a
like
bit of a grind, or you think you'll be able to do it?
I might be able. It depends on how the matches go. So I made a mono red deck, which is a little faster. So try to because a lot of decks I was coming across were a lot of late game decks, a lot of tricolors. So uh, mono red is just super quick. It hits the ground running. Like you saw that one match with me and blue. Is just before you know it, it was over. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
if I
I
get
legit like turned away and came back, and Blue had lost.
if I get mana, like all I need is like 4 mana to win the game. If I get 4 mana, it's over. Like just hit the ground running full blast. Before they can kind of get. If the game goes on too long, I'm gonna lose. If it goes on past like, you know, 5, 6 mana, it's gonna get pretty rough for
Mm.
me. So I usually try to end the game a little bit faster. So I made a couple decks. That's one's been the quickest one to get the most matches in and the fastest wins. So I could see that happening probably by the end of the week. Well, I got 3 days, so hopefully the next 2 days. I've been getting the good thing about Magic Arena is you can pop in the match real quick and then not play
Mhm.
anymore if you don't want to. It's just quick matches, just like pop down, play a couple matches while you watch TV. And that's gonna segue into what I've been watching. But I've been
Yeah,
playing a
what have
little
you
bit
been
more
watching
of
while playing Magic?
I've been watching I think I watched that last episode of the Book of Boba like 7 times.
7 times.
About
Why is it
seven
that
times
good? Like you liked it that much?
That last episode was phenomenal. I don't want to say anything about it because it's a big
Hmm.
spoiler if I even mention anything about it. But it was really, 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 really good. So if you're watching the Book of
So
Boba, you
that's the
know what
most
I'm
recent
talking
one.
about. Yes,
So up until this one, how are you feeling about the show? Because I've been seeing everywhere, like a lot of folks seem to be a little disappointed in it.
it's not bad, but it's when you're coming from like the Mandalorian, when you have so much action and stuff going on. This is more
Hmm.
story, and they're like kind of like trying to build the world. It's more story than anything, and I think a lot of people want some more action, and I understand that. It's been a slow, tr- is like even this last episode had more action than the entire season had, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I don't mind some
Hmm.
story. I don't mind the world. Star Wars lore is very interesting, and this character we thought was dead is alive. So this is telling you all the stuff that's going on with him. So it's not just your typical I can't say Star Wars show, but it's not like The Mandalorian. I think people kind of need to move away from that. It's its own thing, and it's going to be something different. It might get to the point where, um, we get kind of more action maybe next season or toward the end of the season. Because right now
Hmm.
it's about to hit a big peak. Like it's about to be a big peak in the conflict of what's been going on. So I strongly believe it's going to be nothing but action for the rest of the season. I gotta look up how many episodes this is supposed to be, but I'm enjoying it. I watch it every week. Watch the episode a couple times, just make sure I didn't miss anything, and yeah, that's it.
But you don't find that interesting? Like you said, like you liked like you're liking the show.
Hmm.
You it's telling you a lot of story. You're into the story, but the episode that you watched 7 times was the one that had all the action in it.
Yes, but it's also I can't say anything about. It wasn't just the action. It was
Uh huh.
it was dealing deeper into a part of the lore that I'm very interested in.
Okay.
So without saying much of that, yes, the action was cool. It also was dealing with some lore that was very interesting, and also it's like you know, um, it's like an anime, right? Like you might watch the anime, it might be your favorite anime, but like when you come across this one episode when this character like starts using this one power up that they got or whatever it is, like you'll probably watch that episode a couple times just to like take in all the splendor of what you just watched. You know what I'm saying? You might not have been able to take it all in the first time, but like maybe the next 4 or 5 times you're like, yeah, okay, I'm liking this. Yeah, what's next? You know, so it was like one of those episodes without
All
saying
right,
too much. You know, but it's a good
I
show.
gotcha.
Like it's it's not the Mandalorian. I think people need to kind of just understand that it's not the Mandalorian. It's not the same type of show. It's a different story. Um, I think some people are so used to the same formula for certain stuff that that's what they want over and over again. You're gonna get different takes and different types of shows. You know, I was
Hmm.
about to throw like people say at Marvel movies, they're all the same formula over and over again. Um, but they are to an extent, but they mix up a lot of stuff. Some things come off differently. A lot of people don't take to that very well when it's not the same tried and true formula. Like with the Eternals, a lot of people didn't like it because it wasn't as action. It wasn't as tried and true to the Marvel formula they were used to. So, uh,
Yeah, I can see that, but I also feel like the Eternals was kind of a less exciting movie overall. And if you paid money, like you went out to a theater to watch that, you probably would have been disappointed.
here's my thing though: the Eternals aren't very interesting to begin with.
Yeah, they're
They're
not.
not very. The job they're supposed to be doing, other people are already doing that job, and they just started doing that job maybe recently. And their characters aren't the best. It's more so what their introduction and the things that are involved with them kind of mean for the MCU as opposed to them. If that makes any sense, like they aren't the most
No, yeah, because
interesting group.
that's exactly how I felt after watching it. Like I felt
Right.
like the lore and stuff that they bring in was interesting. But on the flip side, I'm not convinced that that stuff is gonna help anything else, like the rest of the
Right.
MCU. Like I'm not so sure how that's gonna work with the characters we already know or the newer characters you're gonna
Mhm.
introduce. Like I feel like that big cosmic stuff might be kind of get in the way of what other stuff like, but by itself in its own bubble, like I thought it was interesting, like that whole history of them and what they were doing and stuff. So I don't know, it could go either way for me.
Right. True. True. Um, Watching, I think that's all I've been watching. The last thing I was playing has been playing a little bit more Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Um, they did like a crossover mission where you meet Cassandra from the last game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was really cool.
Oh,
Yeah, I was thought it was really really cool. Like it was a mission that they shrouded as something else. Like, oh, this person responsible for that is somebody you know. So you go there expecting to see somebody you know. And when you call out to that person, it's not that person. And they look up and then it's her. And I was like, oh, wow. And I forgot there was a crossover
Hmm.
mission, not episode. Um, but it was really good to see her. And it even goes into some more lore about her. I won't say anything much about it, even though came out in December. I won't go into much about it, but it was
Hmm.
very interesting to see her. And she's from Greece. She's all the way over here in like pre modern England, like way before there was like a united England. There's like Saxons and Britons and all that good stuff. So it was very interesting to see her. And we don't even know how long it's been. What the time
Like, did
period
she
is. I
did
gotta
she
look
look
that up.
older or anything?
Well, she ages a lot slower than everybody else because of her ancestry.
Oh, okay, didn't know
That's a
that.
and
whole nother thing. Yeah,
and
that's a
she
whole
has
nother
the thing.
the
I
thing
think that
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's what she. Yeah, I won't say the rest. But yeah, it's very interesting. And I think it's just her. I thought it might have been based off of who you played as in Assassin's Creed Odyssey if you owned it. But no, it's just
Hmm.
her, which is pretty interesting because I think her interaction with Eivor would have been is more interesting than what it would have been with Alexios, the male version of her, or her brother if you picked the guy to play as.
Because yeah, because in their game,
Mhm.
Odyssey, both characters exist in the world. It's not like a palette swap, right?
Mhm.
Like
Correct.
they
Correct.
like if you pick one, then the other is doing something. If you pick that one, then so that it makes sense. Like they can basically say like, okay, this scenario is for this character.
Hmm. Now,
That's cool.
one becomes the protagonist and one is kind of a antagonist. depending on who, if you pick the male, he's the protagonist. Pick the female, she's the protagonist. The male is the antagonist. But it's more complicated than that. But
Mhm.
those are the separations between them on the surface. Um,
I missed the online version of that. I really do.
Oh,
I was
the
sad when they took
multiplayer
it off.
version.
Oh.
Brotherhood.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh my
it was
gosh.
actually really good. It was a good
if
idea.
you've, if you've never played the PvP version of Assassin's Creed where you
That was
had
fun.
different, oh my gosh,
that was fun.
I was sad when they took it. I'm like, that's like, I mean, who wouldn't want to play that? You just run around as an assassin with different abilities, jumping people. No, you don't know who you're jumping.
They didn't
You know
do
what I mean?
more, they should have did more with it, but it was fun. Like you.
Yeah, it was a really
pretend to be
good
like
idea.
a random NPC in the game walking around and just pop out on somebody and just stab him in the neck. That
It's
was
that. It's kind of like that new Dragon Ball Z that's coming out, the Dead by
Oh.
Daylight clone.
yeah.
Like it's
With
a little
Cell.
because it was an asymmetrical kind of thing, but like it was also like Prop Hunt or Spy Party, if you are familiar with those game types or whatever, where like you hide in plain sight by mimicking NPCs or whatever. So like that, I didn't hate it. I think it was a good idea and a fun implementation of that thing because there's actual gameplay involved. All these newer games, I feel like it's just running and hiding, and you're not really doing anything.
I
Does
said,
that?
one thing I said Unity multiplayer was good. Unity's multiplayer was PvE. The only problem was only certain missions were PvE. So while they advertise it as being a co-op Assassin's Creed game, only certain missions you could do with a buddy, which was, to me, it wasn't a good Assassin's Creed. I'm glad they took a break after that one to start putting out like quality Assassin's Creed ones. But to me, that was like the weakest one in the franchise was Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, they would probably agree with you.
Yeah,
because
I think
because it hurt the sales of Syndicate that came afterwards as a result
Yes.
because people were so down on Unity. Because Syndicate wasn't that bad. Like I played a lot of Syndicate and it was a decent Assassin's Creed game. But after that is when they took their big break and then changed the whole formula.
because I didn't play Syndicate until you told me how it was good. Because I kind of gave up on after Unity because I got it thinking, oh, it's multiplayer. This is gonna be fun. And it was like only random missions that you go do are multiplayer, not the actual story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think in terms of battle royale, I think the PvP version of way back then is easily top 5.
Oh, you're dropping everybody in the world like that? That would be pretty cool if you drop like 50 people and you just had like your hidden blade and you unlock powers and stuff.
Yeah, I
That's a
mean
battle
because
royale I could like.
yeah, because well back then you can pick certain classes, certain abilities, and then the moment if you didn't know how should I say blend in with a crowd,
Mm-hmm.
people knew who you were, like automatically. So
Yeah, like you could sometimes just see folks jumping across rooftops. In that,
sometimes Mug just didn't even care. They're like, well, you got to catch me anyway.
Right.
They're just launching themselves all over the place. Like, just to me, before Battle Royale became like a huge thing, that definitely would have been in my top 5 as a Battle Royale, even though it was more of a, not a lot of people kind of played it, I guess.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing. It didn't maintain a big audience.
You know, but as of now, let's say if you were to bring that out back now, I think it would have
there's a chance for that since Ubisoft's next big thing is to their live service Assassin's Creed game where they're kind of just pumping a bunch of characters into a single launcher or something. Like it would make sense for them to have a multiplayer component to that. So why not bring that back? You might see it. I don't know. But does that do it for you, Jeff?
Your favorite assassins?
Yes. That does it for me.
All right, then. Let's move on to our first topic. EA and their love affair with Star Wars has been a rocky one at best. They've lost the exclusive rights to make Star Wars games just before making probably the best Star Wars game in the last several years. That is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, right?
Mm-hmm.
A game a lot of people praise. I'm a little more lukewarm on it, but I'm excited to hear that they're going to do a sequel because I think they can fix a lot of what I disliked about that franchise. But on top of that sequel, there are 2 more games that they have in the works. One is a first-person shooter that's going to be worked on from Respawn, the same folks who did, Apex Legends, as well as Titanfall and their ex Infinity War dev. So they know how to make a shooter, right? This is their bread and butter. So I'm really excited to see what they do in that universe with that kind of team. And the other game is a RTS, it sounds like. And that's just kind of being overseen by Vince Zampella. But the team that's working on that is, I forget. Why am I blanking?
I'll tell you right now.
Last Point or something?
Yeah, it's a team that...
Bit Reactor?
On a Bit Reactors, yep.
Bit Reactor?
Bit Reactor,
Yeah.
that was it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what they've worked on before, or are they kind of new?
I was having trouble finding
Yeah.
their stuff on the internet. I think they're fairly new.
They're formed by former Force and other former XCOM devs earlier this year.
Okay, yeah, that was it. Former XCOM guys.
Those SOCOM?
No, XCOM, the tactics games.
Yeah.
The text. Oh, okay. Tactics games.
Yeah, so I am not a fan of the RTS genre. I've made that known multiple times, but I love tactics games like Tactigy. I'm a big fan of. I don't know where they're planning to go with this because it sounds like they want to make an RTS. But if they have former XCOM devs, I would assume that they know how to make a tactics game. So, I mean, how do you guys feel? Would you prefer a Star Wars RTS to a Star Wars tactics game or vice versa? What's your bag right now if it has to be a Star Wars
I would not mind an
game?
RTS or a strategy game as long as they have multiplayer. I hate a game that XCOM was fine. It was a fine single player experience. I didn't like that. For a game like that, I love strategy games or real time strategy games that have a multiplayer aspect to it, kind of like StarCraft and War. Wait, what am I about to say? StarCraft? Nope, not StarCraft. Yeah, StarCraft. Yeah, I think I'm right.
Yeah, StarCraft is an RTS.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm right. I'm confusing myself. Okay, StarCraft. To a lesser degree, Halo Wars. Warcraft. That was a good hero-based RTS. I just need a multiplayer aspect to it. And in Star Wars world, that can be so interesting. So many different factions, so many different types of troops. That I don't know if they'll go with the hero route, but I'm thinking they might. Kind of like StarCraft, where you had not StarCraft, Warcraft, where you had a hero for your team, similar to like Battlefield, but not the first-person version, where you could unlock a hero during the course of the battle, like I don't know, Luke Skywalker or Darth Maul.
Oh, you mean you're talking about Battlefront?
Yes, Battlefront. Yeah,
like Star Wars Battlefront.
Right. So where you can unlock a hero, and you would have that hero for your troops. Usually you played as the hero, or you can move them around and just navigate your troops. Warcraft was really good with that. Not the remake, but the older Warcraft was really good, where you could have different versions of troops, and you had a hero based on the faction that you played. That was, obviously a little bit stronger than everybody else. Kind of like Wargroove. Remember Wargroove had your hero?
Yeah, I was legit thinking about games that have oh my god, Advance Wars does it, where you have a commander character who has their own ability, but then you have kind of more generic troops, and you have resources to build those troops and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different tactics game than the Fire Emblem kind, where every single one of your characters is a bespoke hero. And I like either one of those. The XCOM people do the more Fire Emblem route, where you build up a unit, and then that unit can die over time. I wonder which route they would go if it is a tactics game, because I think both actually would fit the Star Wars universe very well. Because you're saying, Jeff, there's all these different factions, there's all these different class of character, right? A bounty hunter will have certain sorts of abilities and powers associated with them. A Jedi would, a Sith would, Stormtrooper, Clone Trooper, whatever. If you can somehow pick and choose these different kind of units to put on a single team, or they could do the thing where like how you said Wargroove does it, where like a certain commander has a bunch of units that are similar, but they have slightly different abilities based on who their commander is or what their affinity is. Like there's a lot of different ways you could go about that and make a really interesting tactics game or whatnot. Probably would work the same for like RTS, like real time strategy. I just don't want to play that. So so I just hope it goes the tactics route. But yeah, like it wasn't something that I would have wanted. Like I would have asked for a Star Wars themed tactics game, but like I could really get behind it if they kind of put some real energy into, you know, all the skills and abilities that you can use on a game board. So I don't know. Fast Act, any thoughts on this? The tactics side of Star Wars?
I played a few tactics games here and there. I really haven't played too many Star Wars games. I mean, I've seen a lot of gameplay like Battlefront. But yeah, like to what you were saying about having each class having a specific type of ability, and then you can use them on, you know, on the board whichever way. Yeah, well, like I said, because let me see, what's the one closest? Like to me, like Final Fantasy Tactics, what rings to mind in my mind, because I'm a big Final Fantasy guy.
Yeah, it's my absolute favorite tactics game I've ever played.
So when I think about stuff like that, I'm like, okay, so it's gonna be interesting to see how are you gonna do that per se with Star Wars. So I mean, I'm interested to see what comes out of it. You know,
yeah, I feel like that. Like if they copied Final Fantasy Tactics exactly, like if they're like, hey, you get a character, and that character can multi-class down a bunch of trees, and then, you know, you just build a collection of people that you spend time investing their skill paths down a bunch of things. Like I think that would work splendidly with Star Wars, because like there's so like you can be a Jedi who has dark side powers or whatever, right? Like it's like your class kind of branches out into other things. Like you can be a soldier who then becomes I don't know, like has mercenary tendencies, or who has what the hell was Han Solo? Like a mercenary? I don't know, space cowboy. Yeah. Smuggler, yeah. Like all like you can like there are people who use guns, there are people who use space the cowboy. Force, there are people who use there are robots who can have different abilities and whatnot. Like, yeah, like there are different classes that can all link to one another.
They're called droids.
They're robots.
My mistake. I apologize.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there a way? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think the tactics route works. No, go ahead, Jesse.
Oh, I was just curious. Is there an actual like in-universe difference between robots and droids?
I feel like it's blasphemy to even ask that question. You know, I feel like.
Well, I am pretty blasphemous against Star Wars, so that's on brand.
It's not a real big difference, but they just don't use the word robots. I feel like that was like a big thing for, like, I've never heard them use the word robot at all in any Star Wars movie, property, anything. It's always a droid.
But yeah, also Disengage comes to mind too. The Disengage series also comes to mind.
Yeah, Disgaea is a super complicated tactics game.
So I love it. I have all the Disengage games too. So
also Warhammer was it Warhammer 40K. That was a RTS where you could play as different factions and stuff like that, and you had a commander as your faction, and you also had different types of troops, you know, air troops, ground troops, anti-air, stuff like that. So that'd be pretty cool too.
I think that one also had like unique troops for each, or not unique troops, but like a unique basically hero for each group, because I know like one of them was a flying pyramid, one was this weird dinosaur with no tail, and like I think there was a big boar. Like that was like a super powerful kind of what you talk about with like a Jedi or someone, but like it was like a huge unit that just would mow through.
Front Mission, there you go.
Nice.
I was also front Mission. Yeah, I'm a big Front Mission guy too. That could be somewhat similar. They can look at as well, because a different type of mechs and how they used them, the combos that they used depending on the team. So Front Mission, is also one of those.
So what about
Yeah, I feel like. Uh huh.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
What are you about to say?
No, nothing. Go
No,
ahead.
I was just gonna go. Like similar to like fighting games, like how you can kind of pull in a bunch of different kinds of characters and have them work because they're fighting each other. Tactics games are kind of similar in that way. Like you can pull from a license and just make a tactics game, and then like
Yeah.
everything about that character is based on like their abilities. Like what do you know that this character can do? It's an ability. So like have them fight each other. Like you don't really need
A reason.
a story for that, but of course we'll probably get one. But Deep Scrubs is saying in the chat, Star Wars Tactics game could definitely be fun. All I really want from Star Wars at the moment is Fallen Order 2, because I ended up really liking the characters in the first one. Super worried that they're going to do that thing they always do and slam in all the stuff from earlier Star Wars. Like, hey, remember Han? Remember Luke Skyhands? Like, just let me enjoy something new in this world. So on that note, do you think the story for a game like this, if anything, because we all know all the Star Wars things have to tie into the main universe. Do you think that this will be set like in a time that it won't affect anything else? Like super far, like maybe in the
Fallen Order
what do
2?
they call that new no whatever this Tactics game is, or any of these games, to be honest, because
Well,
there
I
there are
don't
other
think it'll
ones.
be set. I think because what happens is, here's the thing. So let's say there was going to be if you only did one time period, you would only be able to have two factions, because usually that's all there are: the Republic, the New Order, the
Hmm.
Sith, or the Jedi. Like there's always, you're only going to be able to have like really one faction. So you'll have to pull from different time periods unless you go so far back where multiple ones existed, like before the prequels. I mean, yeah, before the prequels.
So what is that? The High Republic? Is that what that time period is called?
Yeah, the High Republic, like a
Like,
thousand
'cause
years
that's the new
before.
one that they're gonna start dancing around in, right?
Yeah, that's the new show
Like
coming
that's the
out too.
new time period,
Yeah.
right?
New
Um.
old time period.
Yeah. Because what happens is they've already explored the let's say the Skywalker saga, from the introduction of the prequels all the way up to the new movies that just ended. That time has
Hmm.
been explored a lot. There's not much room for creative decisions when it comes to that time period, because there's so much stuff already locked down. That's why the Mandalorian takes place in like the outer rim, right as the Empire has fallen, like right outside the outer rim, where it's far removed from a lot of other stuff, so it can kind of do what it wants
Hmm.
without being involved in some of the issues that were going on there. That's a easier time period, because we don't know much happened right after the Empire fell, because that's when Episode 7 came out, where it's like it's been years since. You know what I'm saying? Like you got old man Luke,
Hmm.
so it's years since that time period. So it would either have to be before, the whole Anakin thing, or around that time period as well, which doesn't leave many factions as well. Like around that time period, you had the New Order and you had the New Republic. So, and there weren't really any Jedi, so it's or any Sith that
Hmm.
we know about. So either they're gonna have to pull from multiple different time, or go so far back where there are multiple different factions: Mandalorians,
Yeah,
Jedi,
I
Sith.
kind of like the idea of pulling from multiple timelines so they can just do whatever they want. I just don't know how that'll work in terms of a lore standpoint. If they can get the
You don't
okay to be
really
like,
need a
hey, this
story.
exists outside of. But that's the thing. Like anytime you make a Star Wars thing, don't you have to make it a story? Like the only thing I think we've seen in recent memory that was a Star Wars branded thing that had nothing to do with anything was Star Wars Visions. It was just short stories that seemed to be just not connected to anything because the Force
Right.
did not work the same way it worked to anything else.
Mm.
So like I
But
don't
it
know,
gave
like
them so
maybe they'll
much
get the okay to
creative.
do that, but that's the
Yeah.
only one, right? They were free to do what they wanted. So I mean, on that note, then where do you think they would set a first person shooter? Like what faction I think would best, or what faction would you want to see kind of get the first person shooter treatment and kind of explore their story or their skill sets or whatnot?
I
Because we
think
know
there's
that
only
that's
really
coming.
it's only a couple options. It's either um, the clones before they became stormtroopers, where you had like the Clone Wars, where you had
Hmm.
different clone factions, ARC troopers, and stuff like that, which they've done before.
That would probably be my, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
would
was like
probably
they
want to
had,
do more Clone War stuff.
right. or bounty hunter stuff where it was a Mandalorian type situation. And I think that's a possibility. We've been getting this for some reason. There's been a lot of like leaking of that discarded project of Boba Fett from was it? It was that was EA, right? When they got rid of it's been a lot of footage of it popping up for a game that was
Oh,
discarded
the
that was
Star Wars
1313.
1313.
yeah. We've been seeing a lot of that. So I mean, it's weird that that's just popping up now when we've known about it for a while because it was popping up a while back before, but now it's all of a sudden making a
Yeah, it got
resurgence.
canceled.
Yeah.
Like I guess they're just finding footage of when they were working on it. But yeah, that was like scrapped a long time ago.
Right, and they actually had a good idea for it, where you started out as some no-name bounty hunter, you winds up getting killed by Boba Fett, and then you take over Boba Fett. Like you become Boba Fett after you kill the guy that you were. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty interesting. But like Mandalorians are making a big surge. They're a big thing. There's no game out for them right now, but they're huge because of the Mandalorian, the TV series. Like
Yeah,
they've
TV show.
never been this huge before. You know, they had some popularity from the Clone Wars, but now and Rebels, but now because of the Mandalorian, they're like it's at their peak. So they're definitely going to wind up making some type of game based around some form of a Mandalorian. Not to say it's going to follow Din Djarin from the Mandalorian, but I could see them having some type of you're in Mandalore years before anything else, and this is you doing your thing and unlocking abilities. Because that could also fall into the category of that unnamed Ubisoft open world Star Wars game, which is also not Fallen Order too.
That we don't know much about that at all. Like they announced that some time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
First person
who knows what
shooters
they're
are
gonna do.
pretty.
It's supposed. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say first person shooters in that aspect is pretty tricky if you're gonna either go campaign a specific area of Star Wars when it comes to first person shooter. Because you really don't have like a lot of selection to pick from if you're specifically looking at first person shooter. You know what I mean? So unless you're gonna turn it into like a PvP aspect, or you're gonna turn it into, as you guys say, like a bounty hunting aspect, turn the whole game into literally a whole bounty hunting game where you just literally go out.
That wouldn't be bad. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That sounds good, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Classes?
You literally, different classes. You literally go around the universe bounty hunting in first person the whole game. You turn it into some type of what's that game?
They did do a Star Wars bounty hunter game for PS2.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
also did a clone. What was the name of that game? I'll look it up while you guys talk. It was on regular
Republic
Xbox.
Commando?
Where you played as a clone trooper.
Yeah, Republic Commando.
I think that's Republic Commando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so like, I mean, if you're gonna do a first person
That was
shooter,
like a squad shooter too.
yeah, like you can go campaign, have a little campaign, but my opinion, your meat of the story, or if you're gonna make it last with DLCs and stuff like that, might as well go the bounty hunter route.
Yeah.
You sound
I mean,
so
you can.
unenthusiastic about that.
Yeah,
Like you might
you sound like this is what they'll
go the
have to
bounty
do.
hunter route.
You might as. I think I really like that idea actually. Like, I think it would be smarter for them to focus on doing a single player campaign, but like make that campaign be about a bounty hunter. And like, yeah, you could have the gunplay in the Star Wars universe, but then all the weird little gadgets that all these guys tend to have, like they're throwing like little detonation charges or like little grappling hooks, or definitely grappling hook. You have to have a grappling hook in it.
You got to.
So yeah, like. Yeah, bounty hunters are pretty versatile in the Star Wars universe, so you could really combine a lot of what you have seen into just one kind of new character, and just have the player like get to fool around with all sorts of weird stuff. Like that, I think that'd be really fun, actually.
Now, what about for PvP? Because nowadays you can't have just a single player first person shooter.
I mean, they're not as popular, but
I mean,
I feel like you can still get, like, if it's Star Wars, I think you can do it. Like, you can get away with it if it's Star Wars. Like, it'll sell based on the name.
But will it sell as much?
To be honest,
Yeah.
you turn it into another Apex.
There you go.
You'd have to turn this. You'd have to turn that PvP literally into another Apex. It's the only way you're gonna get
But
away
this,
with it.
I mean, this is, but it's literally
Wait.
Respawn doing it. Like, I doubt they'd want to compete with their own game. Like, they want to blow their own.
It's not gonna be a
property out
battle
of the water.
royale game, you know.
I
but-
mean, you're gonna have certain aspects. I mean, every battle royale has certain aspects that are similar. You're just gonna tweak it to the Star Wars universe, pretty much. So, I mean, are you gonna go 2-man, 3-man teams? You know, whichever way you want to do it. You just kind of drop everybody off on a planet somewhere, and that's it. I mean,
I feel like the license makes something like that tricky. Like, cause like the whole thing with like you make a multiplayer thing, it has to be sustainable. Like you're making a live service game if you're putting multiplayer in it today, and so they're gonna keep paying the Disney for that license. They're gonna keep needing to add things that are based on that license, which is gonna cost them money. Like, for them to have the ability to make this game, I think is just a payday, right? Like, they have their own live service stuff that they want to worry about. They have the license to make this new thing. If it's good, they can make sequels. If it's bad, you know, it's one and done. But like, you try to spin up another live service game, like they're asking for trouble if that's what they're planning, in my opinion. I mean, they could do it. That might be what Disney is expecting, but who knows?
I think it'll most definitely have a PvP aspect to it, just because that's just the norm. And also Battlefront 2, like, they've discontinued like supporting that for like it's been a while now. Like, there's no new updates or anything like that. So they're definitely looking for something to kind of put into there. So I could see them having a PvP aspect to it, even if they don't have a single player, like a single player story to it. But nowadays you see people who are going to complain about either one. If there's no campaign, they're going to be upset.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
No
you know,
multiplayer,
I want an
they're gonna
all
be
in
upset.
one.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to
Yeah.
you're going to have to put out both. Like, that's just unfortunately what it is.
Well, back to the
All right.
bounty hunting thing though. You can turn it into like I would hate to say it. You can turn it into like what's gonna go into the next theme, but turn it into like a Monster Hunter type thing. You have a boss or certain bounty hunting target, and you can team up co-op to take down that target.
Like a Borderlands.
Yeah, like there you go,
Yeah.
Borderlands.
Yeah.
So
a better one, you know.
right, but if you're gonna go first person shooter, that's kind of like what you're looking at, in my opinion, when it comes to Star Wars. If you're gonna do it like that,
Yeah.
Let
If it's gonna be multiplayer, if it's gonna be Star Wars, bespoke character with their own upgrade trees, and then you can play with your friends. Yeah, sounds like Borderlands.
I want to pitch a whole different idea for this.
Shoot.
All right,
Okay,
you asked
let's go.
what you want to see in a first-person Star Wars shooter. That was the word I was missing from that sentence. I want to be a droid.
Ooh.
Because you said, what have you not seen? I haven't seen a lot of things where you get to play a droid. I don't want to be just any droid. I want to be a droid that continually has to fight Jedi and is shit at it and constantly misses. So like the classic freaking, there's a million lasers going around, but none of them hit anything. And like you do every mission being awful at it, but you can like try and get better, but you know you'll never be better. And then people berate you for being bad. And it's like, we're going to take this guy offline. And like the whole story is about being bad at your job, but it's not your fault. That's what I would actually be interested in.
And at the end, you find the person who made you, and you put a cap in them.
why does that seem like a side quest? That just seems like a side. See that happening.
Yeah, that's a funny narrative.
You made me bad. It's all your fault.
Yeah, like even on that note, like if you're playing even any other, because this is a shooter, we're assuming you wouldn't play a Jedi. But if any character you are playing has to routinely go up against Jedi, like it's just like this kind of scary ass experience. I mean, they kind of spoilers for Fallen Order.
It's the Jedi.
They kind of did that in that game. Like you play a Jedi, but you go up against, you know, probably one of the strongest Force users in the universe at the time, if not the strongest. And they make it a very scary experience where you're like, hey, you just got to get out of here.
I can't believe
that'd
they
be
had
fun.
Jar Jar Binks in there. That was crazy. Jar Jar was,
like a little parody.
Yeah, a little
Okay,
John,
so
of
we can
course.
probably wrap things up on the EA Star Wars stuff, unless anybody has final thoughts.
Uh,
No.
good,
All right.
good games.
So,
Good games.
potentially good games. So Fast X mentioned, Monster Hunter. We know that Xbox is apparently working on a Monster Hunter clone, right?
Right.
It's going to be from Studio Certain Affinity, who was a satellite studio. Like they helped finish Halo Infinite, I suppose. Not sure what they've done outside of that, though the name is familiar. Certain Affinity has been around for some time. I just can't tell you what else. Matter of fact, was Certain Affinity, did they work on Crackdown?
I hope not.
Their list, they've helped make a lot of games.
Yeah, I think they're kind of like a helper studio. So they probably did help at least at some point with at least maybe part or one of the two versions of Crackdown 3 that came out, like the multiplayer and single player one. But either way, they're trying to put together this Monster Hunter clone. I love Monster Hunter as it is today, like kind of a little cooler on like the old handheld ones, but World and Rise, fantastic games. What was the other clone? Dauntless that came out. That
Dauntless. That was
felt a little cheap.
Yeah.
Like I like the idea, but like it felt free to play. Yeah. So this with Microsoft money behind it, I'm kind of excited that they could get like a really polished, big, Monster Hunter like game that has less of kind of the legacy problems that the current Monster Hunter has in terms of like, tons and tons of systems, like weirdness in terms of like multiplayer connectivity and whatnot. Like they can maybe solve some of that stuff because they're building this to kind of copy what Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter in general is now. So like I'm kind of excited.
I heard they're doing this because it was too expensive to get Monster Hunter on Game
To
Pass.
keep it on Game Pass.
Yeah,
because it was on Game Pass before.
Capcom is not cheap, sir. It is. They is not gonna. Yeah,
It was on Game Pass for a while, but they did take it off after a bit. So
now I'm hoping that doesn't mean they're gonna. I doubt they're gonna skimp on like not putting enough money into this, because if it's not good, it's not gonna matter if it's on Game Pass or not, or if it's Monster Hunter-esque a clone. It's not gonna matter if it's not good. So they're definitely gonna have to make sure right people are working on this and that it's a quality game. Like, it's gonna have to have a quality game, but also they have to not only build the game, they have to build the lore, they have to build the world, everything that's involved in it. It's gonna be a lot to go into this game. Like, I don't think we'll see this game until like 2025,
Yeah.
it'll probably be a while.
and even that'll be generous.
Yeah, they said 2023, 2024, somewhere around there.
So that
From
means
what I've-
2025, 2026.
Yeah,
That means they
somewhere.
might have been working on this already. Then, if that's the case,
Yeah.
if you're talking about 2 years from now, they might have been working on this already. Most games are in development at least 5, 6, 7 years before they're released like that.
We all know clones don't do too well versus the original at all. Like, at all.
I don't know if that's true.
So
And it has to be a
I
clone
don't know
that
if
can
that's true at
stand on
all.
its own.
Have you
It
heard of
can't just be-
Fortnite?
Oh wow, that
I mean-
did set itself apart though. Even
Yeah,
though it
but-
did copy, it
but
did
I'm
set
just
itself
saying,
apart.
Fortnite is more of a. There's really they took certain elements to do other games. That there isn't really a Fortnite clone, just elements of it that's similar.
No,
to other
Fortnite
games.
is the clone.
You know, like those
Fortnite is the
those
clone.
Those Dark Souls clones. What was it, like the Surge? What was it, the other one?
The Surge 2
Fallen?
apparently isn't that bad. People like that one, and that studio's coming out with a new thing too. So apparently it's selling
One
decent
was.
enough. Like
Surge
the Neo
1.
games are okay. Yeah, Surge 1 was no. The first one they made was called
Lords of the
Crap.
Fallen.
Lords of the
Lords of the
Fallen.
Fallen is
Yeah,
what I'm
that
talking
one was
about.
terrible.
And it was
yeah,
awful.
that one's terrible. Like they kind of got better when they started doing the Surge games.
Mhm.
I think to your point,
yeah.
Jeff, two things on making a clone. If you're just gonna come out and be like, we're gonna make this, and you're saying that to a series that has been around since the freaking PS2, that series has a dedicated fan base. It has tons of lore. It has lots of mechanics. It has a recognizable style. It has, just cultural presence in your mind as something that's been around for a while. To say, yeah, we'll just make a competitor for it, usually seems like this person doesn't know what they're talking about. And that they might just either say it's easy to do, or they're going to keep throwing money at the problem to try and fix it without, solving it. And the thing for that specifically for me is like, yeah, Monster Hunter's been around for a while. Rise is the only one I care about because the Monster Hunter formula, for me personally, doesn't do anything for me. I don't like that sort of grind. Rise changed enough with like how movement works, how fluid it is, and just how fun specific aspects of it are. That's fun. That's like 18 games deep though. And they built a lot of what I like off of things that I didn't like but refined. And to say we're going to do that game one, oh, all right, that's a cool goal to have.
That's a fair way to look at it.
Right. Yeah.
But
that is absolutely
like
shit.
in my like the way I'm looking at it is there's a reason Monster Hunter has been such a big thing kind of in Japan and like has only recently blown up in the West. And it's because Monster Hunter World were the first time they really tried to make a game that appealed to the West. Like they got rid of, the zoned off sections. They made like a big open space. They focused on just certain aspects that other games in the West that were popular had. And it took off. Like people finally understood what was so, charming, so alluring about the Monster Hunter formula. With that being said, that game is still very difficult to get into if you're a new player. Like if I hadn't watched like a ton of YouTube creators who do Monster Hunter content, I might have bounced off a World. But because I bought the game because I was so interested in how it looked and how it played, I had to watch those videos and learn how the weapons work, like how these extra systems work that like help you prep for battles and stuff. And I got sucked in. If you somehow cut out all of that legacy and just use the good parts that they finally got to after all that refinement, like you're saying, like it took them 18 tries to get the game that worked here. A Western studio like Microsoft or a Western company who knows what players in this region like, they can look at that game and say, like, look where they've gotten to. They can start from there and then have all the pieces that already appeal to the Western audience. And I think you can get a decent clone out of that, especially if they care enough to copy the things that are good about that game. Because, like, in my opinion, you need cool stuff to chase after, like armor, weapons, creatures, and you need the combat itself to feel great.
Yep.
Like if they can do those two things, I think they can very easily be a competitor, and probably not to the degree, but like they can have a respectable game. Like you're not gonna dethrone Monster Hunter. Like it's much too big at this point. Like that's not something I'm suggesting. But you can make a game like Monster Hunter that does quite well because Monster Hunter's formula is a good formula. So copying it is probably not gonna be the worst thing in the world.
And they're trying to put it on Game Pass, and that's the thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
From what I saw, is they're trying to put it on Game Pass. I'm like, yeah. So it has to be. I doubt they're gonna throw a lot of money at it. Versus, hence why they didn't want to go the Capcom route because of the expense of what Capcom was probably gonna ask for.
Well, because you gotta look at it. If it's on Game Pass, let's say you buy it right out, it might be $60. But if it's on Game Pass and you're gonna play it for the next 6 months, they've already made more than that $60 that you would have spent on just that game. So that's the good thing about Game Pass. Where like, but usually anytime I hear something going to Game Pass, I always think, oh, maybe they're gonna lose money. But no, they actually make a good amount of money if the game's good and people are gonna constantly play it. Either way, you're not gonna cancel your Game Pass because of that one game. You're gonna keep Game Pass, and they're gonna constantly get that revenue coming in every month. So I think, and also they said it like what, for the last couple years, all first-party games will be on Game Pass. So I guess
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if it's a new IP. It's going to be on Game Pass. If people don't have Game Pass and they want the game, they'll buy the game or they'll buy Game Pass. And now they'll be paying $15 a month until they're done playing that game. So it's an interesting strategy, and I think it served them very well. But I'm hoping the game is going to be good. It has to have some soul. I played that Extinct game, the dinosaur hunting game.
Oh, Last
Uh-huh.
Extinction?
Yeah,
Second Extinction.
Second
it's not-
Extinction, that was it.
Yeah, it's not the worst, but it's also not the best. It has good mechanics. The world is interesting, but it feels very like, even with the dinosaurs there, it still feels very empty. I mean, I did play it alone, but it still felt very empty.
That game is
And-
still in game preview or whatever, right? Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's like an early access thing. It's like it's not even finished yet.
right.
So I don't know. Like I want this to be good. Like I like Monster Hunter. Like Jeff knows I used to be like super into Phantasy Star online, right?
Oh yes, yes. Love
Monster
it.
Hunter
Love it.
World. Monster Hunter World is what scratched that itch for me after years of missing Phantasy Star online. Like Monster Hunter World was like, this is that, but like so much better. Like this is what I wanted from like a new Phantasy Star online for so long. So like I'm not opposed to something else, stealing my attention, because I was never into like the aesthetic of Monster Hunter World is fine. It's something I got into, but like I don't care that it's kind of this primitive medieval hunting thing. If Microsoft and Certain Affinity can come up with like a new cooler thing that I get to do these kind of mechanics in, I'd probably go play that. And I feel like there are probably a lot of other people who feel the same. Like if this is like a sci-fi theme thing, if this is like a horror theme thing, a vampire thing, like whatever you're into, whatever appeals more to certain audiences, like they'll probably be like, oh, I'll check that out, I'll play that. So who knows what they're going to come up with.
Do you think they're going to come up
but if it's
with
Monster
a
Hunter
modern
like,
take on it?
that's my guess. Like they'll probably focus group some of this stuff and be like, hey, what are people into nowadays? And if that Wheel of Fortune wheels like lands on like sci-fi or something, or like modern military, then but I don't know how you do that, because I'm assuming this would be a melee focused thing. If it's Monster Hunter like but it's still a shooter, that might take me out of it, unless they have something really unique planned for it. Because if it's shooter based, yeah, I'd probably be a lot less into it.
Have you played God Eater?
So I don't.
Oh man,
No,
I
but God
beat
Eater
that.
is
The
another
God
Monster
Eater's a
Hunter
good one.
clone, right?
Yeah.
God Eater is
Is that one shooter based?
That's rough
Or is that
too.
one also weapons?
It has
it's-
some shooting.
It's a mixture.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, but it's rough too. It's rough.
I
I beat
can't
that
stand
too.
When someone says a Monster Hunter clone, that's what I think of, and that's why I don't
God
want
Eater.
to. Yeah, I tried.
God
I tried
Eater
God
is
Eater
rough.
too, and the game looks awesome. I love the look
It
of it,
does.
but it plays like a checklist of things I don't want to do with my time.
It is rough. I got 2 and 3. Yeah. And I'm kind of
Okay.
waiting on hopefully if they're gonna do that, they need to hurry up with Fable and turn it into an MMO.
Is that
Fable.
still? Are they still making Fable games?
We haven't
They
heard
need
nothing
to.
They're
about
still
it
making
since
Fable.
the,
I haven't-
Yeah, they're Playground Games is
haven't
working
heard.
on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They announced it at 2 E3s ago, but we haven't seen anything since.
Yeah, I haven't
Besides-
seen anything since. They need to go ahead and make that into a. Because in my opinion, Fable, if it's done in an MMO style, my personal opinion, it can work. Because it's Dying Light 2, the decisions that you can make. If you turn it into a bigger open world type deal, you can get away with it. In Fable, though, get away with it in Fable. So
I don't know. I'm
But
not
I'm kinda-
really a fan of MMOs. So
No, he's
and,
not.
and Fable was one of the few kind of like fantasy RPGs that I thought was actually like really fun. At least the second one was like, hey, this is actually a fun story, like cool fighting mechanics stuff. Like I liked it. But like, I kind of don't care about the new one. Like
do.
it
I'm
doesn't
interested.
excite me. Like I don't know what they could do to make me feel like, okay, this is something I want to go back and try. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like Fable could be good.
Valhalla
Yeah.
in chat says, I've long since lost faith in Microsoft's ability to finish making a new Fable game at this point. That was lightning in a bottle back in the day that nobody will be happy with the new iteration of.
But that wasn't Microsoft,
I mean,
though.
That was Peter
yeah, that was
Molyneux's Lionhead.
yeah, Peter
Yeah.
Molyneux's Lionhead,
Yeah, studios. Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
2 was really good. 3 put the nail in the coffin, and then they were coming out with that asymmetrical game where you played as a villain and you had 3 or 4 people playing as heroes, and you set traps
right.
and stuff for them. That never came out. But this is the first time Microsoft is in control of Fable. Could be good, could be really bad, but I think it's the reason why we haven't seen anything from it is because they're putting a lot of work into this game because they know Fable is such a, despite the last game, it's such a recognizable game. People love Fable. You can't come out with something that's not going to be good. Otherwise, you're going to take a beating. Like, you're going to take a real bad beating if this next Fable game is not good.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty rough. But
I mean,
see what happens.
my own thing is
5-6 years.
like Playground Games has never made a bad game, but they've only ever made racing games.
Well,
So it's like you don't know, like you don't know which way that's gonna go because this is not gonna be a racing game, or is it Fable Racing? And it's just you're all on horseback.
right. I think Microsoft needs that win in their exclusive columns. Halo was a win, but that's all I can think of.
What, you're not thinking about brute force? Wasn't that a? What are you thinking about? Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. Actually, that's all I can think of.
I can't.
All right.
That's it. Yeah, stuff.
Well, on that note, we'll go ahead and wrap things up for today's episode. Jesse, why don't you let folks know what you got coming up this week that they can check out?
Oh man, I'm gonna be streaming something tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure what, but my usual stream time is tomorrow, 11 to 2 Eastern, and that's Mondays and Tuesdays. That's what I'll be playing because I beat that Nightfall demo. So who knows? Maybe I'll do a workout stream for funsies. And then on Wednesday from noon to 2, I do RPG Help Desk, which is a live stream about RPG stuff. At some point, I am going to have Jack on there so we can both complain about alignments and how they're garbage and how to do something better for your game. So I'm talking to
Nice.
Jack about when to arrange that. So won't be this week, I'm sure, but will be. And then, yeah, my Twitter, which is Rexicon Jesse. All right, cool. Oh, yeah, and maybe Damon X Machina for Hidden Gems.
Ooh.
Machina,
Oh.
not Machina.
Yeah, I have that too. Still in the
I would've
plastic.
thought- I would've
haven't
thought that was
yet to even
Machina.
open it. I thought it was Machina too. Yeah.
Maybe it is Machina.
Who knows? Do they say the name of the game in the game?
No, I haven't played it yet.
All right.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Well, how about you, Jeff? What do you got coming up?
Tomorrow I'll be doing Monday Night Magic, 7 p.m. Eastern. Come play, come watch. We'll be doing some player matches or some ranked matches. So come on in and we'll get some matches going. Not sure about the rest of the week, but stay tuned to the Discord. If you haven't already, hit that follow button on me as well as these 3 other men to the left and to the right of me. And yeah.
Thank you. And Fast Acts, what do you have coming up that folks can look for?
Well, you guys can reach me on all my socials at the Fat Stacks, as you guys see there, and as well, Tuesdays is usually the financial corner. If you're interested in, financial literacy and stocks and all that, come by, stop by. We talk about various things when it comes to, building wealth and getting better at whatever you're looking to invest at. It's very basic. Nothing's ever deep. I keep it simple so that you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about. So as well, it's been pretty sporadic for me as well. Also, if you're looking for anime, I do have an anime store. A big anime guy. Of course, it's thefatstacks.com.
Yeah, I've been seeing you posting all the new products popping up in there.
Yes. So if you guys are interested in any of those products that you guys see, let me know. So that's really about it. Every now and again, you'll catch me on Mario Kart. a little Apex here and there. So, come out, check out your boy.
All right.
Like I said,
Sweet.
so
Okay. So you can find me at SigmaGears9 on Twitch and Twitter. I'll be back streaming for the open party this afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Super Smash Sunday. Join us there for some Smash, some 1v1s, the sweatiest. Get your fix of some sweaty boys playing Smash. Outside of that, if your feature presentation is coming out today on The Escapist, Marty and I have a segment on that today, so check that out. We're talking about the latest episode, well, basically everything Attack on Titan, and including its latest episode, because that's coming to a close soon, so check that out. I should have a review out at the beginning of next month, because January is pretty much done with, but I also want to announce here I'm going to be attempting as much as I can to stream way more often on my personal channel, on this channel right here. So if you're not already following, hit that follow button. I'm going to be playing probably lots of Smash, but also other stuff that's in my back catalog to try and catch up on, and just put those Twitch hours in, because I need to get that up and running. So yeah, if you guys have ideas for like stuff I should have set up for either new emotes or little channel points, things that you want to spend money on, like, let me know, because I'm open to that, and I'm going to start trying to revamp a lot of little gizmos on this channel going forward. But that's pretty much it for me. I'll see you guys in about an hour and a half or so, or 2 hours, I think, at this point. Yeah. And with that, thanks. Bye. We'll see you next week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Later.
Hey, everybody.